You can dance if you want to.
You can dance until you die.
And in the year 1518, that's exactly what happened. I'm Tracy.
I'm Kobe.
And today we're going to talk about the dancing plague of 1518.
Break it down, bitch. Let me see you back it up. Drop that ass down, load it, pick that motherfucker up. Break it down, bitch. Let me see you back it up. Drop that ass down, load it, pick that motherfucker up. Now back.
Strasbourg, located in France near the German border, is the official seat of the European Parliament. In the 16th century, it was part of the Holy Roman Empire and the location of a bizarre affliction that befell hundreds of the city's residents. Without cause, and seemingly against their will, people began to dance without stopping. This became known as the Dancing Plague, and lasted weeks on end with no discernible cause. In July of the year 1518, a woman known by the name as Frau Troffea suddenly stepped into the street after being taken over by the urge to dance. She began to dance erratically, her movements a mixture of frenzied shakes, twists, and twirls. She would continue to dance until she had collapsed from exhaustion, only to start again after resting. This behavior lasted for almost a week.
A week.
6 days.
6 days. And she wasn't getting paid for it?
I mean, it wasn't like she was doing it of her own volition. Her body just kind of started doing a little dance. And then she would collapse, and then she'd rest, and then she'd dance again.
My mind's telling me no, but my body's telling me yeah. Ain't nothing wrong with a little torture dance, with a little torture dance.
I kind of want to know, like, what everybody's reactions were to this woman just dancing in the street. Like, were they just walking by and just kind of being like, oh, she's still going. Wow! For a while, maybe they were just like, oh, that's cool, she's still dancing. She's not. Oh, she fainted! So, you want to know the really messed up part? Historians that have studied this have actually come out and said that she should have been dead from dehydration after the 3rd day.
So she wasn't like consuming anything actively while she was doing that?
All I know is she would dance until she collapsed from exhaustion, she would rest, and then she would start dancing again. But yeah, she should have, like, there are marathon runners today who would not have been able to do what she did. So it really begs the question of what the hell was going on.
Within the week of Troffea's erratic behavior, more than 30 people would join her, dancing themselves even past the point of physical injury.
So was this like the first recorded flash mob in history, do you think?
So you're telling me that like one chick danced for 6 days and then many other people joined her?
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's
So-
exactly what I'm saying, yes. They were dancing themselves into exhaustion and even past exhaustion.
So what you're telling me is this is the first recorded rave.
You look like you're thinking about something.
Thinking about dance fever.
The city's civic and religious leaders assumed it to be a mass case of overheated blood. The solution was to procure guild halls for the afflicted, thinking that the cure for this problem was more dancing. They would go so far as to hire a band and gather professional dancers to help the victims continue dancing night and day. However, this would only make the situation worse. After this strategy was put into place, the plague went through a startling growth, and soon over 400 people were consumed by the dance mania, and would begin to die from heart attacks and strokes from the overexertion. Some dropped dead merely from pure exhaustion.
The dance mania! Oh, you know, these people are dropping dead from dancing. You know my prognosis, what I think will help with this? More dancing.
Procure a guild hall!
Oh.
Hire a band!
Play that lute extra hard, lute man, for we will exercise the dancing demon. Shake thy body vigorously in order to cool down your blood.
You got ghosts in your blood. Better do cocaine about it. I shouldn't be laughing at the deaths of over 400 people, but this is just medieval medicine at its finest. Literally. And the startling growth. It went from like 30 plus people to over 400.
400 people danced until they died.
And not once did anybody think, maybe this was a bad idea.
That's what happens when you dance to techno.
It's not funny, but also it really is funny.
I have a theory.
Okay.
I'll tell you the theory after you listen to the other theories. How about that?
Okay.
I want to hear the other theories. I want to hear what they got. I want to hear what they got.
There have been several theories attempting to explain the bizarre incident. At the time, before medical practitioners suspected it to be a case of hot blood, the plague was thought to be caused by demonic possession.
Tap dancing demons. They come out of the ground, get on my roof and party all freaking night. Wanna know what would be cool? Partying for days.
At least we know that Satan appreciates the arts. That's kind of nice. What is it with medieval people and just assuming everything was demons?
What I've gotten from it, from like, I don't know, lectures and stuff. The revelry of the cha-cha is inherently sexual.
Didn't you have a weird story from like, didn't you tell me at one point a few years ago when you were at uni that like, something about dancing?
Yeah, okay, so I went to this Christian college for some reason, even though I grew up Wiccan and everything. I got a scholarship. It was like a good animation school. They had all sorts of like weird rules. They had this spring show, like the theater had this spring show, and it was a Church of Christ school, okay? Let me just preempt that. It wasn't just stereotypically extremely Christian and therefore extremely strict. It also got weird in the sense that Church of Christ thinks it's sinful to dance. So, whenever they had these spring shows, which of course would have a little something in them.
A little dance,
A little-
dance fever.
A little shoulder shaky. Basically, in order to ensure that God would not damn all the theater kids to a painful fiery pit, they referred to dancing as choreographed movement semantics.
Wait,
Get you out of anything.
isn't dancing just choreographed movement though?
Jesus says something different.
Alright, fair enough.
But this is also the same school that had like mandatory chapel, which was awful because it cut into my sleep time. I tried to get out of it, and then a counselor got really upset with me about it. I want to sleep. I haven't slept in weeks. I'm seeing beams from negaverses fucking swooping down from the ceiling going,
You at a Christian college just feels like someone taking a fish and trying to like put it in a tree.
I went to a Baptist church exactly one time, and that one time I got into like a conversation with a girl, and I was like, yeah, I'm just trying to see what this is all about. Like, what's the deal?
What's happening here?
What's happening?
Who's
here?
in charge?
Who predetermines when I get into paradise? I want to know. I'm like talking to her about like being pagan and stuff, and just trying to experiment with religion. And she's like,
Oh, well, I'm glad you're here so you have a chance to save your soul, because otherwise you burn in hell forever.
and I was like, oh. And then I turned my chair the opposite way and just ignored her for the rest of the time. I was just like,
Another proposed explanation involves Saint Vitus, a Catholic saint that people believed had the power to curse people to dance without end.
I thought the saints were the good guys. See, saints are assholes. Saint Vitus is making people dance to death.
I thought I had read somewhere that the reason St. Vitus had cursed them to this dancing plague was because of their heretic lifestyle. They were filthy heathens.
A more modern explanation for the events is that, like the people of Salem, Massachusetts during the Salem witch trials, citizens had accidentally consumed ergot, a mold that attacks grains of rye and could have contaminated their bread. The effects of ergot can lead to spasms and hallucinations. The only problem with this theory is that the people of Strasbourg's movements were more comparable to the traditional dancing of the time than that of a seizure.
Okay, all that aside, ergot was a big issue back
For
in
a
the day.
long
For
time.
a lot of people, yeah. Moldy bread is dangerous.
Don't eat mold.
Don't eat mold.
You'll start seeing witches, get a whole population of a town hung.
I mean, maybe you want to trip out, but I don't think moldy bread's the way to go.
People also suspected the afflicted belonged to a religious cult.
I'd be in a dancing cult. I would. Led by Kevin Bacon.
You could join a cooler cult, though.
No, I mean, I can't really see how a dancing cult would really be harming anybody. You know, getting together, living our hedonistic lifestyle.
You just dress in capes, and then you go out, you take the capes off, and you have your matching track suits, and you're like, nah, nah.
do want to hear your theory.
Time traveling ecstasy peddler.
And then- and they went
and
and-
they go to the chick, and he's like, "These are magic beans."
Are they wearing the stripy hats like of the con man, like all the accoutrement of the con man?
Yeah, they got magic
Got the
outfits and
suits.
everything. Directly blessed by the Pope. You should talk about.
But if you get the urge to dance,
That's normal.
That's normal.
That's normal.
and they were watching as like a bunch of people started dancing, and they're just like, "Oh man, this was the best idea you've ever had." You didn't tell them not to take too much, did you?
No.
It must be really easy to start a cult. It would be really easy for me. I could go out in the street at any given moment, and I could just scream random shit. But if I screamed it loudly and with enough conviction, somebody would believe me. I could go out and I could start talking about how I am the reincarnation of our Lord Jesus Christ, and somebody would be like, "It's real progressive that he came back as a woman." I'm gonna start a cult.
Right now?
Right now.
Right now? Wait. What?
It was good. I told them that the church would collapse unless they gave me all of their money. And they believed.
How much money was that?
By the end of the sermon, I had received about $50,000. I scheduled another sermon for next Tuesday if you want to come. There is one more theory though, if you care to hear.
Sure.
Another likely scenario is that the citizens of Stroudsburg fell victim to psychogenic movement disorder caused by mass hysteria, an affliction in which a large group of people can experience the same delusion. This form of hysteria is usually brought about in times of high stress. Stroudsburg was going through a famine at the time, and many people had already died of malnutrition.
I believe this one.
Mass hysteria.
Yeah. It sounds right. It's not so crazy to think that some crazy bitch had a stress-induced breakdown, and then
So she started dancing about it.
yeah, and then everybody kind of just started following suit. You see, a lot of people are starting to behave really erratically. People are getting concerned. A lot of bad stuff has already happened. A lot of you have already died off from malnutrition, starvation, stuff and the like. Doctors start throwing the word plague around. Do you think on some psychological level you would start, having a little bit of a placebo effect?
Yeah, I would suppose that is actually really likely. Although I do hold to time traveling ecstasy selling.
Only time will tell. But that's all for this week. We hope you enjoyed the video. If you have another weird, unexplainable, creepy thing, person, or theory that you would like us to cover, just leave it in the comment section below. But until then, I'm Tracy.
I'm Kobe.
And we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
This is good tea.
You're welcome.
Good.